Where are you diving into?
Is here. We enable people to connect to Torah, to connect to each other, and to connect to Hashem.
People come to the Kollel programs in order to gain a deeper, meaningful, and insightful understanding of Torah.
They've continued to find ways to reinvent themselves and to serve as a source of Torah inspiration and community connection. Over the past few months, we have seen exponential growth more than ever before. People are connecting, they're participating, they're engaging in a whole host of Kollel opportunities.
I've been able to connect so much more in the past 6 months than I have in years, and it has infused so much spirituality into my home.
It creates a space to foster the growth in Torah and the love for the land of Israel and the commitment to the land of Israel. A space where families can grow together, where individuals can grow by themselves, a space for the community to come together.
During this difficult pandemic that we're still going through, the Kollel's been there for us every step of the way. Whether it's a shiur, whether it's a program, whether it's just a text on a Friday afternoon. And I think it's our opportunity now to step up and be there for the Kollel.
The demand for Torah learning and the participation in Kollel programming has never been greater. But the challenge has also never been greater. We are nurturing the journey of Torah of our community and of individuals across the spectrum of our community. So please make a difference. Help us continue this journey and donate today. Don't wait, give now. Help us build Torah together and get people going on their Torah journey. Thank you so much.
They don't see it. Huh? They don't see it on your YouTube channel. Oh, I'm seeing it on YouTube channel. You all right? Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We'll begin one moment. Bershus Rabbi Litek, who you see right behind me, Bershus L'Chavri HaKollel. Good evening and welcome, everyone. It's wonderful to be together. We thank KGBS for hosting as usual. Even though we can't be together physically in person, but we can feel together, we can open our hearts together this evening. Leil Slichos, Mo'otzoi Benucha. Coming off of Kavod Shabbos. Usually we're here in person together, and this is also one of our opportunities to be here in favor with a new Father Apollo to welcome the new members. You'll hear shortly, a little bit later, just want to introduce and welcome Lenore Goldstein or Lenore Wittenberg, who you see a little bit on the screen behind me. Special thanks for making it tonight, and of course, to Coach Mon, who's your mind. We'll begin one more million, and we'll hear from Ari Cooper, one of our returning Father Apollo third-year member. Thanks for the work of speaker. Are you getting sound on the mic? Yeah. Well, we're talking and your mic's not lighting up. Hello? Hello? microphone. Why is there no audio? Oh, hello. Now
Oh, we're getting audio? Okay.
Now we're getting audio.
All right.
Hello. Not getting audio before?
Oh, we lost it for a minute. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Okay, we're back. Audio is on.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Technology. We're trying the best we can. I hope you can hear us. We can hear ourselves. So at least.
You missed an amazing Vartori. Wow.
We have our Believe tag. We have Believe tag words. We're thrilling enough. You got to get them in the video right there. We got Tani Kraft. All right. Baruch Hashem, we don't take ourselves so seriously. Okay, let's try it again. Should we try it again?
Try again.
I think that was Yossi like pulling the cord
Just gonna make sure we have sound. Are we? Yeah, we got sound. Okay, good. Shavua Tov. Pleasure to be here. Imagine we can easily picture that a guy is sitting in his doctor's office and the doctor tells him, "You got to stop smoking. Smoking's going to kill you." But sure enough, 5 years go by, 10 years go by, and it's been 3 decades, and his doctor, every single time he sees him, tells him, "You have to stop smoking." The scans come back, and sure enough, after 30 years of smoking, he has cancer. He's got lung cancer, and the doctor's showing him all the scans. There's nothing that they can do. He's going to die. The next day, the doctor shows up at his office, and he sees his patient waiting at the door and says, "Doctor, please, 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 I'm sorry that I was smoking. Please make me better. Save me." The doctor looks at his patient, and he says, "I don't know what you want from me. Not only have I been telling you for 30 years not to smoke, but I showed you the scans. Your lungs are gone. They're torn apart. There's nothing I can do to save you." And yet, in a few minutes, we're going to go into the base measures. We're going to go into the shul. And we're going to say Selichos. And we're going to say, "HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please forgive us. Please give us Tara. Purify us." And it almost seems like HaKadosh Baruch Hu should laugh. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us that you shouldn't do these things. You shouldn't taint your soul. And yet, we have, Kavayahu. Lahavdil, we might not have been smoking, but we've tainted our souls because when the process of tshuva really has 2 pieces to it. On the one hand, there's the merit, the rebelling against the Kadosh Baruch Hu. God says not to do this, and we did it anyway. And that's one part of tshuva. But there's another piece of tshuva. The second aspect of tshuva is not that we've tainted the relationship between myself and the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because God can forgive the times that I have acted inappropriately between myself and the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I can forgive you. You can forgive me more likely if I do something wrong. But there's that second element of tshuva is not about forgiveness per se. That second element of tshuva is that I have tainted myself. Through sinning, I've tainted my soul. How is a Kadosh Baruch Hu supposed to fix my soul? And how is asking for Slicha and Kapara supposed to fix that? What is Slichos accomplishing? Explains Rabbi Shlomo Sulu. Sorry. Rabbi Shlomo Busu, a tzaddik in Yerushalayim, a grandson of the Baba Sali, that the miracle, really, of tshuva is that not only is HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to fix the first piece, not only is he going to forgive us for the times that we slighted him, where we didn't do the right thing, but even in the second part, even the piece where I've messed myself up, where I'm not as good as I could be, where I have tainted my own soul, even that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to save us. That is what we're asking for in this whole process of Slichos.
Look, it's a Zman. It's a Zman. It's a Zman of Ahava. It's a Zman of Slicha, Kapara, closeness. Lakol Zman You're everything we have. That's where we're looking for, and that's where we're going to. Monosly, the Rama writes in Kriyas Mishnayos and Rosh Hashanah, the Rebbeinu Shalom is our mono, it's our place of refuge. Yossi Katz.
There's a Gemara that says you're allowed to lie about certain things. One of those things is about how much you've learned. When I learned that, I began to tell everyone I finished shots. So we don't like to brag. Bragging is not something we like to do. It's a bad midah. However, there's certain things we should brag about. Finishing shots and lying to everyone is not one of them. But the Alexander Rebbe writes in this week's parsha that there is room to brag. The pasuk says, "Hanistaros la'Hashem Elokeinu, hanigolos lanu ulevanenu." He says, what does that mean? Things we do in private, the mitzvahs we do, Hashem knows about. Hashem is watching everything we do and He's keeping account of everything we do. He says, but if you want your kids to know about them, if you want your kids to perpetuate your legacy, if you want your kids to learn from what you're doing and to continue on that way, then you have to take what's nistar, what you do between you and Hashem, and make it nigla for your children. Let them know about it. I think something we've all noticed over the last couple of months is how much of a role schools play in our children's education. And I think that only compounds how important it is, therefore, that if we have certain messages that we feel are vital for our children to know, we have to make them nigla. We can't just say, I have certain values, and maybe my kids will know about it. Rather, we have to take the step of making it nigla, of letting them know, of reinforcing it, and telling them constantly about what matters to us and what we want them to learn from us. Everyone should enjoy the Kumzitz.
Special niggun from today's parasha. Second, gotta get the guys back in the camera. Ron, this is the worst part. That's it. That's Nicholas. Nicholas Lona Lebanenu. Now the Banenu. Even though we're far away from you, we're far away from each other, but it's really close. We welcome our new Rosh Beis Medrash, our special new fellow, new chaver for this year, Rabbi Noach Goldstein.
Every year when Selichos begins, it's that Motzei Shabbos, you got home from shul, you maybe change into something, wash the dishes, check email, a couple other things. You get to shul and you start Selichos, and it hits you like a ton of bricks. Like, I am not ready for this moment. I'm not ready right now. The shofar may have been blowing for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. Doesn't matter. I just don't feel like I'm prepared for what's happening now. I'm hearing the tunes for Yom Narayim and Rosh Hashanah's in a week, and I don't feel like I'm prepared. We're about to say the Yud Gimel Midos Harachamim, but before Selichos begins, first tefillah we're going to say is Ashrei, regular, good old-fashioned Ashrei that we say 3 times a day. And if you pay careful attention to Ashrei, you'll find something fascinating. Those special, unique Yud Gimel Midos Harachamim that we associate exclusively with this time of year, they're actually in Ashrei that we say every single day. What do we say in Ashrei? Chanun v'rashchum Hashem erech apayim ugdal chased. That's right there 3 times a day. We have a line which is just taken out of Yud Gimel Midos Harachamim, and it's with us every single day, and we didn't even realize. And I think one way that we should approach the coming days is we have been preparing for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Just we may not have fully realized. We've had our struggles this past year. We've had our moments of thought. We've had our moments where we're trying to adapt. We're trying to get used. We're trying to figure out what was the past, what's the future. And now as we come to the time of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's game time. We're taking what has been going on with us under the surface and we're bringing it out. We're taking those thoughts that we may not have explicated, but they were there, and now the focus is going to come. Those lines from Ashrei that we've said every day, we didn't even realize maybe what it is that we're saying. Now comes the time to cash in on the chips that we didn't even realize we had in the bank account. Now is the time to push ahead in the coming days.
It's inside. When we think about ourselves, but we also think about all the others. Everyone around the world, Jews, especially in Israel now, this time, it's very challenging. We welcome our second new chaver for this year, our second new fellow, Rucham Aboim, Rabbi Noah Wittenberg.
The Chavetz Chaim once asked his Talmidim, what did the man in the desert taste like? And they answered correctly that it tasted like whatever you wanted it to taste like. Whatever you were thinking about at that time, that's what it tasted like. And so he answered back, so too with mitzvos. When we do mitzvos, just out of rote, just because we do them, so then they can taste bland, plain. But if we think about it beforehand and we put some thought and deliberation into it, so then they can be delicious. And I think this idea can actually be applied to our situation now. Selichos, Rosh Hashanah, Aseret Yemei Tshuva, Yom Kippur. It could be rote, it could be plain, it could be what we do every year. But I invite everyone to spend a little bit of time thinking about it, thinking about the meaning behind it, the reasons why we do it. And we can transform what is a rote, bland experience and make it truly delicious, very meaningful.
Mentioned that sometimes it feels daunting to approach Slichus. We're going to say in a few minutes Kedalim uchiroshim dafaknu delasecha. We knocked on your door like beggars. Do we really feel like beggars? Are we really knocking even at the door? Amazing Maisa. Unbelievable Maisa that can answer this question and give us a path, give us an approach, give us something to hold on to during these days. In the 19th century, there was a Gaon, a great Torah giant in Eastern Europe. His name was Reb Eisel Charef. Reb Eisel, Charef means sharp, Charif. He was a brilliant Talmudic genius. And he had a daughter. And mamish, everybody, every yeshiva bacher wanted Reb Eisel Charef to marry his daughter, to be part of that family, to be connected to such an unbelievable personality. And his daughter was a tzaddikus. She was beautiful. Alamilas, amazing. So he decided, not far away from where he lived, there was a very prominent yeshiva. They had 300 bachrim learning in this yeshiva. And in Europe, when it meant to learn in yeshiva in Europe, it meant you learned from 4 o'clock in the morning for your seder before Shachris, by a gas lamp in the home where you slept. Then you got up from Shachris at 6:30. You had maybe a morsel of breakfast, first seder, second seder, third seder, learning till like midnight. So these are Iluyim, the giants, the youngest shining stars in all of Europe. They're learning in this yeshiva. So Rav Eisel Charef comes to the yeshiva, and obviously he's well known. He meets the Rosh Yeshiva and he says to the Rosh Yeshiva, I have an idea. I'm going to pose a question. I'm going to ask a shaila in the Beis Medrash. And any bacher, whichever bacher can answer this shaila, I will be glad to make a shidduch with my daughter. So the word gets around the Beis Medrash that during lunchtime, after first seder, Rabbi Eisel Charef is going to be sitting in the cafeteria, which is like a bench outside the Beis Medrash. And he's going to sit on this wooden bench, the Heiliger Rabbi Eisel Charef, and all the Bachrim are invited over to hear the kasha and to see if they can give a teretz. Who can ferret for the kasha and win the hand of the daughter of Rabbi Eisel Charef? So Rabbi Eisel Charef shares the kasha. I wonder what it was. I don't actually know. Rabbi Eisel Charef asked the kasha, and one by one, each of these brilliant Bachrim walk up to Rabbi Eisel Charef and they give an answer to this Talmudic conundrum. And each one, he deflates them by rejecting each answer out of hand. Because with his brilliant mind, he was able to undermine each and every teretz every single Bacher gave. Literally, 300 Bachrim lined up, they each approached him with a teretz, and he rejected each one. So he said to the Rosh Yeshiva, okay, I think I'm going to have to look for a shidduch elsewhere. The Rosh Yeshiva says, what can I tell you? It is what it is. So Rabbi Eisel Charef is walking out of the yeshiva building along the little dirt path where there's a wagon that's waiting for him. That's the wagon that took him there. There's a little coachman in the front, the driver. Rabbi Eisel Charef sits in the back, and he gets in, he puts one leg and a second leg, and he sits down on the wooden bench in the back of the wagon, and he's about to leave when he hears someone screaming, wait, wait. A young man is running out of the yeshiva, and he's pursuing, he's chasing. He reaches Rabbi Eisel Charef's carriage, the wagon, and he says, Rabbi, wait 1 second. So Rabbi Eisel Charef says to the driver, he says, wait 1 second. Somebody's here. So the driver, he stops. Rabbi Eisel Charef gets down out of the coach, and he looks at this young bacher who he had seen earlier, and this bacher did not give the best teretz, the ones that he had heard. That he rejected all of them. This bacher obviously wasn't giving them the best one. The bacher says to Rabbi Eisel Charef, he says, Rebbe, I don't have the teretz, but I want to know, what's your teretz? Rabbi Eisel Charef said, you, young man, you will be my son-in-law. Because for most of us, we come to this period, we don't have all the answers. But the Ribono Shel Olam doesn't expect us to have all the answers. He wants to know, are we seeking? Are we striving? Are we interested in the answer? Or are we at least asking for the answer? Even if we never get that answer in our lifetime. Even if we set many goals and we never accomplish them, but that's also okay. But are we even setting those goals? They used to say in Europe, such a bacher, he wasn't called an Elu, a genius, he wasn't called a masmid, he was called a mavakesh, a seeker. And maybe the goal, even if we can't feel like we are Dalim and Russian, that we are the paupers coming to the Ribono Shel Olam, but you know what? We can strive for that. We can seek to that. We could read the English translation of the Slichos. We can listen to Rabbi Liebtag, his drushes. We can catch up on the WhatsApp. And if we didn't catch the WhatsApp, did we try? Did we want to be on the WhatsApp? We didn't make it on the WhatsApp. Some of us, it's harder to be on WhatsApp. I'm just saying. But were we mavakesh? Did we try? Did we strive? We don't have to have all the answers. But maybe at least, especially this year, do we wish that we have all the answers? Not everybody here is going to make it to shul for davening. And even when we make it to davening, it's not going to be the davening that we're used to. It's not the davening our grandparents said. It's not the davening we had last year. But do we wish it was that davening? Are we seeking for that davening? Are we hoping that maybe somehow there's going to be a Yeshua Keherafayim and the next week the Mass will be gone, Mashiach Tzidkenu will be here, and even if not, we'll be able to daven together, a normal davening? Are we wishing for that? Are we a mavakesh? I bless all of us this Yom HaNorayim season that we should at least be chasing the wagon, at least be looking for the answer, even if we never get it. To end on something, how blessed we are to be a part of this journey, to be a part of this shul, to be part of this community, to grow together. Yashikoach, everyone, thank you for coming. We're going to transition now to welcome everyone into the main sanctuary. We're going to hear Divrei Chizuk from Rabbi Liebtag, followed by Slichos. We invite everyone to stay, to continue for the Divrei Chizuk for Slichos, and then to join us tomorrow for a full day of learning, which we'll post in a little bit, as part of our first ever crowdfunding campaign. Good Tvach, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming.
Sefer that's held on him.
Yeah.
That's part of the Shul, the Levavish. Beautiful.
It's amazing, Meister, right?
Mazera.
Revise Lachar?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, mamish. Amazing. 1 second, let me get this ready. Let's see.
As a community, Torah is at our core, and that's why our kollel is here. We enable people to connect to Torah, to connect to each other, and to connect to Hashem.
People come to the kollel programs in order to gain a deeper, meaningful, and insightful understanding of Torah.
They have continued to find ways to reinvent themselves and to serve as a source of Torah inspiration and community connection.
Over the past few months, we have seen exponential growth more than ever before. People are connecting, they're participating, they're engaging in a whole host of kollel opportunities.
I've been able to connect so much more in the past 6 months than I have in years, and it has infused so much spirituality into my home.
It creates a space to foster the growth in Torah and the love for the land of Israel and the commitment to the land of Israel. A space where families can grow together, where individuals can grow by themselves, a space for the community to come together.
During this difficult pandemic that we're still going through, kollel's been there for us every step of the way. Whether it's a shiur, whether it's a program, whether it's just a text on a Friday afternoon. And I think it's our opportunity now to step up and be there for the kollel.
The demand for Torah learning and the participation in kollel programming has never been greater. But the challenge has also never been greater. We are nurturing the journey of Torah of our community and of individuals across the spectrum of our community. So please make a difference. Help us continue this journey and donate today. Don't wait, give now. Help us build Torah together and get people going on their Torah journey. Thank you so much.
While we're contemplating being conservative, I think we should just avoid the same route.
Oh, all right.
It's okay.
I don't even think we need.
You know, as long as we can make an effort, we'll make an effort. There's no other choice we go.
I'd have been happy to make it.
Yes, let's share. Like that. Let's see. I'll just stand for a second and see how it looks. I think it's good, right? It's good. It's definitely gonna be from there anyway.
Okay, first of all, thank you to the YU Kollel for again with the Kumzitz. Maybe we even had a bigger crowd this year, virtually. And welcome to the new Chavri Kollel. This is the first time I put this up since March. Tried to think about what to. There's so many emotions that are running through my mind the last few weeks as we began to really prepare for Yom Noraim. So many thoughts in terms of this specific year, a very different year, a very special year. And I remembered a beautiful, amazing story in the ghetto in Lodz. So it was almost Yom Kippur. So in the ghetto, we know that obviously you didn't go anywhere, you didn't get out anywhere. And there was one of the Rebbes that all he wanted, besides everything else that he had lost, really the thing that he wanted was he desperately desired to go to the mikveh. Right now we're in the opposite side. We're trying to find ways that we're not going to mikvah. Tisha Kabin, right? Stay away. There, all he wanted to do was go to the mikvah. But the Nazis, they had cemented up all the mikvahs. So the night before Yom Kippur, and this young boy comes to tell the Rebbe, listen, we were able, no one knows this, but we were able to break a hole in the wall that's next to the mikvah. And I was told they scraped with whatever they could find, spoons, knives, whatever they could. They scraped, they made a little hole. They told me to go tell a few of the Rebbes in the ghetto that this mikvah is open. So I'm coming to tell you. So Mamish, out of his sacrificing his life, the Rebbe and this little boy, the Shamish, they crawl around the ghetto just to get, and when they get to they get to this wall, and you have to climb in a hole to get into this waiting room to then get into the mikvah. And when the Rebbe gets down, he sees there's 100 people there. Moshe Weinberger says that Jews only tell secrets one Jew at a time, right? There's 100 people there. And what they're doing is they're hoisting each person up. Person goes into the mikvah, and then he comes out. And the Rebbe said, he begins to cry. And the Rebbe says, how could there be such things, such a people, after they lost so much, and at one of the darkest moments of their lives, all they want to do is search for something greater. All they want to do is search for something that's pure. We are coming to a time, a Yom Narayim, that I don't think we need to like get riled up for. I think we're ready. We're ready to daven. The slichos that we begin, when we start to say slichos are not just slichos. Slichos are tefillah. The Rav would talk that Shmona Esrei is man almost confident, but slichos is humble, but it's tefillah. What we're about to say is tefillah. We're adding on. The Soloveitchik once commented that the whole idea of the person that begins slichos should say the rest of davening is because it's tefillah. You got to finish it. And there's a lot of things that I think we're thinking about over this Yom Narayim, things that we'll talk about at least in our shul over the next few weeks. The other night, as all shuls are doing, we got the town halls and the discussions and how things are going to run. And I was really good until the end when someone asked about children. And I don't know if you caught it, but I caught myself. And I teared up. It's a yontif that there are so many things that will seem strange and will seem odd and will seem different. And maybe, as Rabbi Bram mentioned, it won't be the same davening like I'm used to. And it won't be the same Bali Tefillah every day like I'm used to, and the same seat that I'm used to. But when we break our routine a little bit, when we break what we're used to every year, it allows us to say, what do I want to search? What do I want to reach for? What are we reaching for as our goals? We're coming to the slichos feeling personally, not like I felt in a slichos in a long time. And I love Yom Narayim. I love him. I love him since I was a kid. I love the davening. I love the slichos. I could daven all day. I push davening longer and longer every year. Now I have to cut it back. But we feel different when our routines are broken. When our routines are broken, when the mother of Sisera is looking out, where is he? He's not coming back. For her whole routine that he's supposed to come. He's supposed to come home. We're supposed to have dinner. And now she begins to cry. That's why I blow 100 tequilas. The routines of our lives have been broken. The normalcy that we were used to has been broken. And Amir Hashem, when we would ever daven for a year, the things should just go back to being normal. But as we enter into Yom Narayim season, that feels strange, and there's so much we're going to daven for. We're still going through a pandemic. There are tragedies in our community that we're davening for from the bottom, from our Amkas Halev to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we come with all of that, as Berditchever says, we come with all of that for the Yom Narayim. But this is a year that we can't miss. We can't miss this opportunity to capitalize on these feelings of growth that I haven't felt in other years. And it's odd. If it doesn't feel that, I should feel it this way. We're dealing with all these different things. We got blue tape, we got plexiglasses, we're sitting in masks. And yet, when our routines are broken, when normalcy has been thrown out the window, we have a chance to re-anchor ourselves and say, all right, what do I want to reach for? And that's something that's very, we can't miss it. Rebbetzin Heller has a story about a boy who eventually makes his way back to Judaism. So she says to him, what's your story? So he says, I was on a boat. It's a true story, she says. I was on a boat capsized. I'm mamish, I can't find anything. And I finally scream out. I wasn't religious. I scream out, God, if you save me, I'm going to go to Israel. I'm going to go to Yeshiva. Well, all of a sudden, he doesn't know somehow, find himself on the shore. 5 years later, he makes Aliyah. So she says to him, 5 years later, you had a deal. God saves you. What happened? He said, well, after I made that deal, and I was saved, I added, when I'm ready. If we can, this is our year. If any year is pushing us to think differently, priorities, what's really important, and we've reevaluated all these different things. We've learned the value of the state school system. Right? Before this, I was always complaining. And now we realize how amazing it is that children should go to school. We realize the value of a Beis HaKnesses. That we have a place to come to daven, to be with each other. The normalcy of having tefillah b'tzibur, of the social interaction that people don't get by not coming to shul. We've realized the impact that the people that are by themselves and need people to check on them. Our Bikkur Cholim has been reevaluated. Our Chesed has been reevaluated. Our Limud Torah has been reevaluated. And we've done more learning and we've done more davening. And in fact, maybe those months at home, we had better davenings. That has changed the way we daven when we come to shul. Every part of our lives, our spiritual lives, has been rediscussed and reevaluated. And this is it. So this Yom Narayim, it will feel different. And even though it might not be with 100, 200, 300, or 600 people, even though this period might be skipped, and even though this tefillah might not be sung as much as I want to, my tefillah and my interaction with this Yom Narayim must be different. We can't miss this opportunity. Brand just mentioned, are we beggars? I think this year we are beggars. Not beggars like, God, just give me something. It is, we want more. We want more because we know we can achieve more. I mentioned the other night that our achrayus of Yom Narayim is especially more on each of us, whatever minyan we find ourselves in. Because we're upholding that minyan. We're really like, it's really on us to be there, to sing and to. We say Selichos tonight, halachically after Chatzos, lahagiv aboker chasef v'mascha b'leilos. Because this is a time that we really, I reflect on my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I think that we really have to give it our all. I think that we have to come, like was mentioned by some of the Chavri HaKolo, to take a little time this week. To like think about my davening. What am I asking for? What am I reaching for? And out of these moments of darkness, these past few months, we've reached for things that we never thought we could accomplish. And as we, Mirza Hashem, start this Yom Narayim season, really tonight, over the next few weeks, it should be that we're not only davening for Yeshua, for Geula, for Refuah, that we reach high, as we set goals because we feel like we can, because we realize how much we could accomplish. We should come to this Yom Narayim season, as Pinkas says, feeling good about ourselves, of what we've done the last few months, how we've managed, how we've pivoted, how we've done all these things that should come with us to motivate us. To say that I know what the baseline of what I'm davening for this year, like every other year, but this year, this Yom Narayim Tav Shem Pei Aleph, this is the year that I really understand that I don't know, that I don't control anything, that I really understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in control. And from that depths, from that mima amakim, that's where we could be karasicha Hashem. Let's continue with slichos. Asher shevesecha yalucha sela. Tila sadini davar pi, vivarech kol basar, shim kachadir lamoed, anachnu nuvechyo, yatov yadar lam, hallelujah, yiskadel v'yiskadel, shemei rabba, V'alim divrach Yerusei, v'yamlich malchusei, oy b'chayecho yenu, v'yoyemeyechoyin, ayu v'chaye dechol beis Yisrael. Magalo bizman kori v'imru amen. Yisborach v'yishtabach, Yisbar v'yisraimam, Yisnaseh, v'yisador, v'yisaleh, v'yisalol, Shmei dekudesho b'richo. Li'elam in a kol v'irachos v'shiroso aitosh v'choso oy v'nechemoso tamiron v'yolema v'imru amen.
Sorry. Hanisham Malach, Yaguf Malach, Kusal Malach, Hanisham Malach, Yaguf Shalach, Adonai Yaseh Leman Shemecha Sono, Al Shimcha Adonai Yaseh Leman Shemecha. Avor kivoyt shemecha kel rachum chanun rachum shemecha leman shimcha Adonai v'salach tol avoneinu kiravo tzlach lanu avinu kiravo v'altanu shaginu mechal lanu malkeinu kiravo avoneinu. Sheikhei Seiv Avoin Anuchim Tuchim Alecha V'cham Usachim Neroi Seminecha Nimashei Alin Sachim Ki Al Rachamecha Rabim Anu B'tuchim Ki Al Rachamecha Rabim Anu B'tuchim. V'chein kosov v'yamane avir kol tzvi al panecha Yikar aseh v'shir Adonai lefanecha v'chanoisi es asher rachoid v'richamti es asher rachem elechavayatu Avar al Besh Simcha Sham Kiyom Yitzat Sevim Mosham Tazin Shavoseinu V'Sakshib Menu Mamar Yom Yikar Hashem Adonai V'Sham Ne'emar Vayavar Adonai al Panav Vayikra Adonai Adonai El Rachum Echanun Echapayim Chesed Yemez Chesed Lo Alofim Rau Chesed L'cho Karecha Amal Chazim and Art Yashar B'Adamai Ingram Yishbon and Zedek Yisrael Latzim B'Al Shal and Akim Ar Chasim Yisrael and Yisrael Slach no lavoino mazeh kigodel chazdecha b'chasher nosas salam mazeh mitzayim yadeino b'shom ne'emar Ayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha Ki shimcha nikra l'ircha ya'alamecha Elohim l'amisleimim Shimcha Elohim Chaim Yisrael Chaim Tovim V'Chani Shem V'Kar Chaim Imcha Yisrael Abitov Aneinu Beineinu Ho'er El Melech Yoshem Al Kisei Rachamim El Reis Alon Lemar Shaloi Shesrei Uzachar Lanu Ayoy Merish Loi Shesrei K'may Shoidat Alonov Mikedem K'may Shekazov Vayered Adonai Be'anon Vayisyat Tzevi Moshe Vayikro V'Shem Adonai Vayavoy Adonai al panav Vayikra Adonai Adonai Yechmechano Rav Chesed L'chol Kerecha Al Tavod Mishradim Oh, please. Tzach no laben amazeh ki godal chazdecha v'chasher no sosel amazeh mitzrayim v'yadeino v'shom ne'eman Hayomer Adonai yisolachti kidvarecha Yishimcha nikra lecha v'yalamecha Agodoy noel kader chumeino vatziligo latzim ischumeino yachad b'kol tzikosech kol rachameino yoshev no abacho senachameino el melch Yoshem al kisei rachamim El Reis Alon Lemar Shaloi Shesrei Uzachar Lon Ayoy Merish Loi Shesrei K'may Shoidat Alonov Mikedem K'may Shekazov I hear that the never known, may you save me my show. I grow be shame, Adonai. Vayavor Adonai Alpano, Vayikra Adonai Adonai, Yerachu Mechano, Nerchavai Rabchaz, and Yemen, Donai those Rabchaz, and the Chag, I say Menucha, Kidanucha Tchilo. Atos nechavi maro, yoshev tilo, lishmaya el harina, v'el hatilo. Esminoy zero, asoy schayel, tegnekad, ishchad royel. Genoy nagizav, zakom yar loyel, lishmaya el harina, v'el hatilo. Derish nadarishech, abadarsham panecha. Idarish lama, mishmei manecha. Shavaskin unam, al talem oznecha. Lishmoya el harina, v'el hatfila. Slichalim v'rayadim, yom ha'echa. Olim k'mabkirom, evras nasoecha. Trufa mechena, v'yardu flaecha. Lishmoya el harina, v'el hatfila. Yotzer atol, chol yitzir noitzar. Renant mi austerev, chal tzovi meitzar. L'chananam chinam, yatzar amnutzar. Lishmoya el harina, v'el hatfila. Mara, im atzemu, b'sheikolecha. Nosagivei meotzar, amuchan mizvulecha. Adecha lachayin chinam, boyim eilecha. Lishmoya el harina, v'el hatfila. Neinoyatalois, v'alachatois. Tzadek zeyakecha, flipilois. Strive nachinunam, elim adinoitzois. Lishmoya el harina, v'el hatfila. Ritzei asirasam, yamdom alilos. Sheina v'ratzon, kigarban kolil v'alos. Darei misecho segdalos. Lishmoa el harina, v'el hatfila. El melch yoshem, al kisei rachamim. Something good. Eloi salon elemer shelo shesrei uzachar lanu ayom berish lo shesrei Moshe dat alonov mikedem ki Moshe kosov Ayered Adonai be'onon Ma'isad zevi Moshe Ayikra b'shem Adonai Vayavor Adonai al panav Vayikra Adonai Adonai Yelachu Mechano Nechavem Chesed Mezuzah Adonai Al Tefen, El Kshiyam Azem, El Rishom, El Chatoso, Al Noso Sheis Aleinu Chatos, Asher Noalnu, Asher Chotonu. Chotonu Tzereinu, Stachlonu Yotzereinu. Our long piece of it. V'yeinu ala kodshecho, v'samecheinu v'etzinosecho k'mo shekosov, Yav yosim ala kodshi, v'smachtim v'etzinosi, Oseyem zivcheyem, v'ratzonam v'yisechi, Ki v'yisi v'yisri lo yikareh l'chol amim. Shema koileinu Adonai Eloheinu Kuz rachem aleinu Mikabel brachamim v'ratzon as teviloseinu. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'no shuva Kadesh Yameinu Kikedem. Al tashlichenu milifanecho Ruach Kodshecha tikach mimenu. Al tashlichenu liyezikno Yichlos kochenu al tazveinu. Al We should only have this going. Ozrein Wali Shin Advak Chemecho Batile, no Kapel Kado say, no Laman Chemecho, he's Kadel, he's Kadesh Meirabo. And what the Rock who say beyond the Mouth, who say Chaychor, to be a Mikor, to be Chay, the Kobe, Israel, Low is non Caribbean Ramen. Hey, Shemeirabon, Barach, Olam, Lomeo, Mayo, East Barach, East Tabak, East Marby, Samami, East Nasevi, East Hadori, East Halevi, East Halosh, Chabricho. They love Gavasav Shasa, Dush Vasav and Echmasada, Miran Yalamov and Ramen. Skabel, Taisan, Masan Chai Israel, Kadam, Abudim Ishmael and Ramen. Yehei, Shalom, Arab, Mishmai, Vachai, Malay, Novaka Israel and Ramen. But said Shalom, Ramalov, said Shalom, Malay, Novaka Israel and Ramen.
We ran to the Kolos for leaving. And Shabbos got 7:30 minutes. Looks like I'm sorry, 6:50. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 6:45, Wednesday and Thursday. Weird looking at yourself. It is weird. You give a share on Zoom. You're looking at yourself the whole thing.
If I'm around Zoom today, I minimize myself.
Right.
I prefer to see others.
Yeah. If you're on a meeting, yeah, but